Welcome to episode 7 of the District Gamers podcast. I'm your host, Stealthy. With me returning, second episode in a row, Zarik Meister.
Hey guys, how's it going, man? How's everything?
Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter. You can follow Flying Ho on Twitch. And the co-host should be back by next episode. But besides that, let's dive straight into it. Enjoy the show. Alright guys, last episode I did want to go over something we forgot to kind of give our opinions on. It's our favorite horror game ever. Out of all that we mentioned last episode, what is your favorite franchise? Is it Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Elden Wake? What would you go if you had to choose one?
You know, for so long it was Resident Evil, but you know, after Alan Wake and they introduced how you can also have physics inside a horror game and still have it be good. You know, they add an element in there that focuses the gameplay on it. You know, it makes a lot of change. It makes the game more more focused. You know, the gameplay would be, nowadays you can say Alan Wake now.
Okay.
You can say Alan Wake.
Okay, and I would choose, if I had to choose one, Silent Hill. It's always been my favorite. I really enjoy it. And then Resident Evil would come next.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Silent Hill was very good always.
Most anticipated horror game. It could be something in the works or just something. I know we talked about this Evil Within 3 should come out. This should come out. What's that one game you want it to come out?
Who you're talking in regards to horror genre?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking if the game that's been announced or unannounced yet. Because if it's
announced, what would you choose?
If it's announced, I honestly don't have anything in mind right now.
Okay.
There is one game.
I can't even think of games that have
There's
been
a
announced.
new id Software game. It's from the creators of Dark Souls. What's that game called?
And it's horror?
It's not really horror. It's just more of a Dark Souls type of game, but you can say that.
Let me rephrase the question. Go with anything. Not that has nothing that's
that has been announced.
Yeah,
I would say Evil Within.
Evil
Within. I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to see what happens in the story. How much further they take the story in this game. You know.
Definitely.
I would say. I don't know if it was. You could say it was a cliffhanger, but the last one was kind of. I don't know. It was very vague. You know.
I think it ended, but there's always room.
What ended up happening?
He got out.
I hope I'm not killing this for anybody. You know, I just need a little refresher.
It's been 2 years. He got out of the machine.
He got out of the machine. His daughter didn't really end up burning, or they really had her kidnapped.
I'm not sure if he saved his daughter or not.
Or they made him believe that she was.
My game of the year. I can't remember what happened to his daughter.
Yeah, that's
he got out.
Because the game, like when you think about the game, he's in a dream, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's fiction and what's not.
Yeah, but I remember he got out of the machine. He walked out. There may have been an extra scene with his wife.
I remember something in a bar or something.
It was his wife that was still in the
set
machine.
Him up. That's what it was. It was his wife that ended up setting him up. That's what it was. It's just the game. It kind of like funnels the line of exactly what happened. Because when you think about it and you see, you remember all the stuff that happened in the story. But you can't tell what was real and what's not because there's so much stuff happened.
It's been 2 years.
And the game has a lot of tricks in the story as to what happened. So
But they can always expand. They can expand on that.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
But I didn't mention in the intro. We're gonna just dive into From Software titles. We're more of the Souls genre games, not all the titles they've developed. We're not gonna go into their old school. What was it, King's Quest or not King's Quest? They're old From Software titles.
I remember that's a very old, weird game.
I can't remember the name, but it took a lot of elements, bring them into Dark Souls. But anyways, we're going to go title by title and eventually get into other Souls genre type of games. But I'm going to start with Demon Souls. So I know you haven't really played Demon Souls.
No, I did
Oh, you did play
I
it.
did
Yeah.
overlook a lot of things in that game.
Demon's Souls
I
was more
will
of the
say-
test game for them, testing the
I-
waters, but it
I
was
agree.
highly popular.
When I first saw that game, I don't know why I felt like the production quality was kind of low. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if
definitely.
it was just the way the game was,
The game
or the way
released-
the enemies were. Like I'd see like a half-built guys with like snake heads, and it would look very weird in the way.
Well,
but-
definitely,
but I
only
do see what they're
released a short supply to GameStops and all that.
Yeah, I remember because it was something they were introducing brand new from Japan. Most gamers here
Yeah.
weren't familiar with that. But
Yeah,
but one thing I will give that company is how they slowly and gradually built a fan base over time.
Yeah.
They didn't just some companies will just try to throw something at you and tell you go play this.
No.
And like it won't be appealing to people.
Definitely.
The way they developed, they really caused the revolution in the way they make games. Now everybody's trying to copy that. How there's souls and like different worlds inside your world, and you see other shadows
Yeah.
from other
It
people.
definitely
gamers
became
around
its
the world.
own genre of dying, respawning.
Exactly. Even like their reward system in it, how they developed that over time. Somebody would get so angry, but this game managed to gain your attention when you're angry.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
and the difficulty and how the enemy's AI works and like adapts to how you play. It's a very
Yeah.
neat game.
Now, an element Demon Souls did have was white Souls world tendency, black world
Yeah,
tendency.
I have.
They never brought it to future games, and I'm glad they didn't because it was pretty annoying.
It was the
But it did
confusing too.
open new pathways and had you play it over and over. Demon Souls was level based, like you teleport to that world based on what column you go to. It wasn't more like open world opening. It did still have the early elements, opening shortcuts, the good boss fights. But yeah, it was a stellar game. There was definitely room for improvement. It released in Japan first, I think like around December 2008. Eventually came to America in short supply in 2009, but yeah, it became a hit. They threw it out there, they didn't care.
When I first saw Demon Souls, I was like, man, this game is like, I don't know if I'm gonna play this,
Yeah.
And then when Dark Souls came out, I got so into that game.
Yeah.
Just the way you're leveling it.
Before we get to Dark Souls, real quick, do you want them to remaster Demon Souls on Xbox, PS4?
I would.
Or would you
if
go
they
back
did,
and play it?
I would 100% play that.
Okay.
I know they would fix a lot of elements they had that bugged a lot of people in the original one.
Yeah.
I remember they had a couple glitches and stuff.
I don't know
weird
about
stuff
that.
in
From
it.
Software usually just pulls the game and just they don't remake it. They just
That's true,
remaster
yeah.
higher resolution, but they keep the core element.
Yeah, I remember they did that on PC
Yeah.
when they ported the original
Dark
Souls.
Souls.
But
Yeah,
the
now we'll go
controls
into
were
Dark
just
Souls.
horrible. I remember what they
Yeah,
did.
it was 360 emulator running on PC. It was
Yeah,
so
it was
weird.
kind of weird, but yeah,
Definitely.
I give them props for at least trying.
Yeah.
Some companies are just like, fuck all these motherfuckers. We're not releasing it on PC.
Yeah, or
These
they don't
guys
have the
actually
time,
took the time out of there, because
Not like Shadow of the Colossus on PS4. That was a whole remake by Blue
yeah,
Point
that's
Games.
true. No, that game was just
Yeah,
something
it wasn't
else.
just a remake.
I
They
always
did remaster
waited
it.
for another Shadow of the Colossus like game. That game is
Yeah.
just that game is a gem in its own
Definitely.
right. That game is a gem.
So Dark Souls was the game where you started basically and you mastered the game. You PvP'd in it.
I remember,
you-
I got all the achievements
played
in that
everything.
one too.
Yeah.
100 that game.
Oh, and we should mention, he mentioned that he has over 100,000,
Yeah,
you're almost to 100,000.
Yeah, almost 100,000.
Just in case
I'm getting
anyone
up.
looks you up and they're
Yeah,
like,
no,
wait, is this
no,
guy
it's
lying?
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
so-
hit that 100,000. But
Yeah.
the main thing, the
You're
reason
on
I
the road
kept
to
my gamer
100,000.
score for so long is 'cause I got some really hard achievements on there.
Yeah,
I got the
and-
Aperture Science. And I was kind of always collecting the hard achievements.
Definitely.
Except that Ghost Recon one, which is fucking bullshit. Where you got to be
yeah.
number one on the leaderboards 10 years
you
fucking
had to
later.
be one of the first players.
Yeah,
like
that game
Major
is just
Nelson.
ridiculous. I like the achievements that were really
But
difficult.
anyways, going back to Dark Souls 1.
As far as Dark Souls 1, that game is just flawless in every aspect. I don't care what
It
anybody
was a
says about that game.
masterpiece.
That game was a masterpiece. It revolutionized gaming. People would be always wanted easy games, easy walkthroughs. This game
Yeah.
is for the fucking elite gamers. People that really
Definitely.
play that shit to the core.
Yeah, that's how it was advertised. It was like, hey, you buy
How
this
many
game.
times have you died? They had a
Yeah,
counter of
you're
how
gonna
many
die
people
over
will
and
die in
over
the
again.
fucking game in the world, which was
Definitely.
neat. That was a very neat feature.
Yeah.
It shows you that creativity. You can be creative and do real, and imagine people talking about a game that's insanely hard, but people like it. It's not like people are snapping like, "Fuck this game, it's hard."
People were
it's
snapping though. People who weren't into that game kind of set it to the
Obviously.
side and they're like,
You
where's
know-
the easy mode and all that. But yeah, Dark Souls I thought was flawless. The way it opened up
in every
shortcuts,
aspect.
how
It's
everything
not just
connected
that.
to
People don't
Firelink
realize
Shrine.
it revolutionized the way, you know, somebody took like a game like that and then everybody's taking the idea now. Oh,
Definitely.
you die, you know, make it difficult.
Yeah.
Look at Darksiders 3. Darksiders 3 copied a lot of elements from that
From
game.
Zelda
Like how
too
your
as
soul,
well.
how your souls, once you get killed, your souls stay, then you gotta go back.
But
and recover them.
Darksiders isn't
I wouldn't say
a tough game.
it's
like-
not a tough game, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm playing that game on the hardest difficulty right now, Apocalyptic, and I'm literally in almost 5 playthroughs. I'm ready, almost to the end of it.
Yeah,
I'm on the
no.
last 7th sin.
See, Dark
you know,
Souls
and it
doesn't
did the
have
extras.
the difficulty.
Exactly.
You think it's better for games to stay that route instead of having all these difficulties?
Yeah, I
Like,
completely agree. You
yeah,
know.
I think a game's a masterpiece when it's like made the way it's intended to be.
Yeah, I completely agree with
Yeah.
that. I completely agree with that.
But what do you think about this easy mode? We'll dive into it now. There's people that want to enjoy the world. They
Of
want to
course,
enjoy
I
Dark
agree
Souls,
with that.
and it did spawn this whole community of get good. You guys suck. Go play another game.
Yeah, no, I
But
understand.
I think more people should be allowed to enjoy it.
I
but-
agree. They should always have easy mode, just for anybody who just wants to play it and just like
Just
walk
try
through,
it out
you know?
and go through.
There's those gamers, you know, the casual
Yeah.
gamers.
Now
You know?
what-
No offense to anybody casual, you
Yeah.
know, but some people just want to play something, just beat it, and just see how the story goes
Yeah.
through. Kind of like people just like watching TV shows. They don't like watching
Definitely.
movies. or
Now the
videos.
story is all told in dialogue, and it's weird.
It's true. No, I understand. Yeah,
Dark Souls 1 did have a good plot twist.
Yeah, that's
where,
true.
Where you were
You're
really
being
the
the
bad
bad
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's-
I don't know. I think if they make a casual version for a game, an easy mode, it's gonna
I'll be honest with you. Like Dark Souls,
it's gonna
the
pull me
story.
off. Because then
you
they
know?
gotta keep tweaking the bosses. They gotta keep tweaking I mean they do tweaking when it's co-op. They do make the boss have more health and things similar to that. But again, I prefer if it's a Souls genre game, keep it one difficulty. Don't even make an easy mode.
I agree. No, I completely
And people
agree.
who are playing it, honestly, the easy mode is just co-op. Play with someone who's good
Yeah,
and
have
roll
them
with
beat
him.
you, have you
That's
beat
how
all
you
the bosses
experience
for
it.
you.
Not have a separate easy mode and you go through
No,
it.
I completely agree,
Yeah.
man. Dark Souls, bro, even
So do you go back and say screw the easy mode?
No, I mean, I always like to take the hard route. You know, I like to get all the achievements at once. You know, in Dark Souls, they didn't even have a hard difficulty achievements. Really, it's just do this, do that.
Yeah,
you know,
craft this weapon.
which was good. Yeah,
Something
I like that
are
about the
annoying,
game.
though.
You know, there were some annoying achievements in it. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I don't know. I overall, like, I would say Dark Souls was extremely well rounded.
Yeah.
You know, it revolutionized the way certain games were. You know, it opened the
What
door.
you think of the boss fights of Dark Souls 1? Like,
Oh, Dark Souls.
some
1.
that let you fight.
I'll be
two,
honest with you, some-
remember
Two guys that
Orenstein and
yeah, that is true. But you know, Dark
Dragon
Souls
Slayer.
wasn't merciless when it came to boss fights. You know, I mean, you could say it was merciless when their health is like at the end. That's when the boss gets nerfed, or gets very strong, or gets what was that word they use in MMOs?
Nerfed.
Not nerfed. The other one when they make them buffed.
Oh,
They
but,
buff them.
yeah.
You know, like the
But
guy
I
gets.
think Dark Souls 1 always gave you a fighting chance.
I
And it wasn't
agree.
like a one-hit kill,
I agree. You know, and just like
which was like Dark
later
Souls
on
3.
in Dark Souls, you know, after I felt like every part, you know, part 3, the boss just got impossible. The boss, the side, what was his name at the end of the guy you fight in the big field?
It was, I think, spoilers ahead. It was supposed to be your character from Dark Souls 1.
Was it the guy who's like all
Some
flame and like,
iteration
fighting
of
you?
him,
I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck is going on here? The guy's just beating my fucking ass. You know,
Yeah.
and it takes you so long. The learning curve, they just quadruple it, so it gets so much more difficult. You know, I had to make some changes to my guy, like like rolling speed, walking speed.
Definitely. But
you
Dark
know?
Souls 3 played differently than Part 1. Remember,
It's
Part
true.
1 you rolled around.
Yeah, that's very true.
It had,
Part 1, not only that,
3 had more of the Bloodborne.
exactly. You know,
dashing.
part 3 or part 1. The thing I loved about it is your variation, like you can attack the bosses in different modes. You know, like you can have the how do I say it? You know how they have like different classes in games. You know, they have the sorcerer. You know, you can be a sorcerer. You know, like move here.
Oh, what
use
did
a-
you used to play?
I played as kind of a knight.
Temple Knight.
You
Templar
know,
Knight, that's what I played.
Yeah, and then like the knight like is well rounded in every angle, but which made bosses a lot more difficult. I'd see the guys that were the heavy, they played like the heavy gear set.
Oh, yeah,
They'd
they
go in
geared
with the
up.
Havel armor,
Long
and then
shield.
like their fucking health bar would be huge, and then they'd keep getting hits from the boss, but they'd be able to
Now
withstand
you're
it.
talking Dark Souls 1.
Dark Souls 1,
You
yeah.
played with light cloth.
Exactly,
But you
like-
played as a knight.
Exactly, I played a
Okay.
knight, so I
So
do
you were
high
faster
damage, but
moving
I was able to dodge. The one thing that really fucking pissed me off is they took out the grain rolling ring. That fucking roller ring was the bread and butter.
That
man.
was the PvP ring in Dark Souls 1. You roll sideways,
Yeah,
right?
you get to fucking do like side rolls and shit,
Yeah.
cartwheels. It was amazing. You know, I'd have the thorn armor partially with the thorn armor, so I'd roll on motherfuckers and make them take damage, and hit them with my freaking
your
Dark
weapon was
Knight,
the
Black Sword,
Black Knight
Dark
Great
Sword.
Sword.
Yeah, the Great Sword, the massive.
Mine was a Great Axe. I like that.
Yeah, that one
Remember
was-
Ross like the halberd.
Yeah,
All the
those
top three
weapons were
weapons
the
in
best
part one.
weapons in that game, man. I remember I freaking got the chunk, Titanite chunk,
and
maxed
we
that
used
sword
to
out.
PvP. What we used to do is we'd kill the queen and Orlando.
The titty queen.
Yeah. The amazing chest.
The game was
hat.
hilarious. I remember
All the
that.
writing,
The other
like,
writing.
amazing chest. What's this going? Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'd kill that queen. We'd sit there because people who had some sort of ring, they'd get teleported to people in the dark world because it was an illusion. It was the real world was the dark world.
Yeah,
When you
I
kill the
remember
queen,
that.
it would bring it. So they'd get summoned, and I'd hide behind somewhere. I'd play as an archer, and you'd play as a black knight. As a knight.
And we'd lure them in and
You'd go fighting them, and I'd be shooting crossbows or
It
arrows.
was hilarious and killing
And then
them.
we got a nice 2v2 one time. I'd be kiting them.
Hey, that
You'd
game
be
was the shit.
up front killing them. One time you solo 2 versus 1.
That was the shit
Flawless PvP. There has not been another Dark Souls
to top that.
to top part 1's PvP. With the ring you mentioned and all
Yeah,
that.
they really.
Definitely.
I don't know why they took that stuff out, man.
Yeah.
It added such a good mix because you'd never expect to pick up any kind of weapon or ring that would change the gameplay like
Change
that.
the character
It would literally
play,
throw a curveball,
Yeah.
gameplay wise. You know.
Now we do remember there was backstabbing. And people would lag and somehow they'd backstab you. That was
I remember
annoying.
that.
And I
But
know they
even it
fixed
wasn't that
later.
bad. It wasn't that bad. If you could just roll
Yeah.
around, you'd always get away, you know. But this is the thing about the original Dark Souls compared to the new one. No matter what they added in there, you know, gameplay would always be balanced. Say you got a guy that's super strong, you take away his mobility. See, you have a guy that has good mobility, you take away his strength. You know, see, you had a sorcerer, you know, like his
So it had
insane
kind of
power.
the rock, paper, scissors.
Exactly.
aspect
It
of
was
online.
very balanced. You know, in the newer
Definitely.
one,
Yeah.
you just fuck you. They take everything away from you. Go
Yeah,
fuck.
nah,
you
I
know,
will
like,
say
come on.
Demon Souls PvP. I forgot. Those were a lot more epic. You go on YouTube right now, you see some of the Demon Souls battles. They
I
were
remember.
different, but they lasted longer.
Yeah, you know, I do remember
did have
watching
some
you
epic
fight a couple
battles,
bosses.
yeah.
Then I mean, I'll be honest.
Not the
with you,
bosses.
I
the
didn't play
PvP,
that game
player
as much
versus
as you
player.
did, but I watched it a lot. I'd always
Yeah.
used to watch Demons because I was so, you know, it was when it first came out. It was such a dark game. It was you
different.
could tell it was from a foreign country as far as the production and, you know, it didn't lack in its gameplay, but the visuals and stuff. You know, the graphics weren't bad, but it was just something very dynamic than what you would see here. So, you know, in the gameplay
Definitely.
type, you never saw a
Now,
game like that.
the DLC for Dark Souls, they did add more PvP arenas. I remember in that.
I do
and
remember,
They added
yeah.
more bosses.
And this is
3
when they
bosses,
ported
it
it
was-
to the PC, correct?
Yeah.
If I'm not
yes,
mistaken, yeah, I
correct.
remember.
And they did release it on Xbox 360 at the time.
do
That's
remember
what I
that.
played it on at first, fully 1000 as well. Yeah, I remember the last boss they added in Dark Souls 1 was kind of showed how they were leaning towards the one-hit bosses,
Yeah, I remember.
which was kind of annoying.
They
I
had a
forgot
lot
his
of
name.
bosses like that.
Yeah.
They had a lot of bosses like that. Even in, you know,
Now moving to Dark Souls 2, you played that as well, right?
I
You
played the shit
completed
out
it.
of Dark Souls
Yeah.
2. I remember that.
That had the most DLC as well.
I had missed a couple bosses in that one. I ended up going back to playing them and beating them.
I think you beat all of them except you didn't really get into the DLC that much.
For part 2, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that DLC for part 2.
Yeah, they had 3 of them. Remember, I loaded them up.
Oh
for
yeah,
you. You tried it out.
showed me them.
The first DLC, I can see it could
You
put
did show
people
me that.
off, but like DLC 2 and 3 were good. Something King maybe. It kind of just wraps
You
up
know,
the story.
I just did,
but,
I didn't have any achievements in it either,
Yeah.
so that's what kind of bothered
But
me.
Dark Souls 2, you had to fight like 2 sabers. The DLC, that's probably the hardest boss in all of the Souls universe.
Was it
opinion.
really that hard?
Yeah, it was insane.
I think I ended up playing. My brother let me play it.
What do you think of just the core game of Dark Souls 2? Just entering, what was the main home city? I don't know.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, it showed more forest.
Dark Souls was just so much content in that
Dark
game.
Souls 2 had
I
a
get
lot of
confused
content,
over which one is which. Honestly, when I think about, does that ever happen to you, or am I just the only person that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes I
but
get confused over which ones
it
like
was
was
with
which.
the M, or maybe no something. Shit, I knew this because Dark Souls 2, that open world, I felt it was a lot bigger.
I do remember. I just
But it
need a
didn't connect.
refresher. It's
It
been
didn't
so
connect
long.
as
How
good.
long is when was Dark Souls 2 came out? Because I know I got that game on release. I actually reserved that game.
2010. It came out when Gears 3 came out around that time.
Has it been more than a decade
Was
almost?
it 2012 maybe?
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's been a while.
lord, man! I totally lost track of it.
Yeah,
It's been so
but
long.
whatever. That home city had a nice tune to it. You know, it was kind of relaxing. That's where
I remember that's when they
remember
introduced
specifically.
Homeward Bone, or did they
No,
introduce that in part
they've
one?
always had.
They've always had
yeah.
that. I'm tripping.
But just the structure of it wasn't Dark Souls 2 wasn't like one where everything kind of connected back to the home base. It did have different
Yeah,
paths
yeah.
that
Oh,
led to
you'd
different
have to
areas.
teleport. You'd have to teleport
Yeah.
a lot. I remember now.
And
It's just been so long, man.
the thing is with Dark Souls 2, what I didn't like, they ruined the Great Knight Axe. They tried to make it more realistic.
Did they
where-
reintroduce those weapons?
They did, but here's the problem. They were weaker because it was based on what part?
Oh, Dragon
the
Slayer
object.
was in part 2, right? That was
Yeah,
the one you
yeah,
fought the
hit
dragon in
floor
the
and
sky.
then-
Yeah, and then the clouds. You're like fighting them in clouds, right?
But here's the thing I'm talking about with weapons in Dark Souls 2. When you hit, you had to hit at the end of the blade to do the full damage. If
Yeah,
if
you're
were
right.
close
You're
to
right.
the
I
character,
realized that.
You hit
Was
where
that
the
different in
handle-
part 1 than part 2?
Yeah, the damage.
And now I'm realizing
so
that.
you hit
now.
where the handle was, it does weaker damage. Or
Then
it
when
does,
you hit, yeah, you're
it
right.
felt, yeah, I don't like that
I
about
don't-
it.
I remember that now
But
because
the
that's one
structure I
element
like.
that really that really changed the way you played the game. Because I
Yeah.
remember playing part 1. Part 1 was so intense because like you know when you're hitting the guy, and then part 2 like I'd hit a guy and like I'd see the damage.
2 was
You know,
more
hit less
realistic,
damage.
I'd say. But
I would say,
they
no,
ruined
that's
that
true.
weapon, but my favorite weapon became the halberd. Because the halberd,
You can get distance.
poke them, you could hit them. It always, however you
The-
hit with the halberd, it was the main
The
damage.
trident. They had the trident again in the second one, didn't they?
Yeah, the dancing to buff yourself, but again, the PvP too with Dark Souls 2, it wasn't as hot as part 1. But
It's just been,
it
they had so much
good boss
content in
fights.
those games. I just
Yeah.
lost track, honestly.
Well,
I don't know
we'll
what-
get into our favorite ones, but yeah, so you cleared out 2.
I cleared out 2. I played 3.
Three.
I beat.
3 was annoying.
Yeah, part 3 was annoying. The last boss, I got stuck on him for weeks.
Remember that lightning boss?
Which one was the lightning boss again?
I forgot, but he gets up into the sky, throws a lightning bolt. He was the guy, I think you told me your brother was snapping trying to beat him. Like anyone who fought that boss was snapping.
I remember fighting like a demon.
He's like a Zeus looking guy, you know?
It sounds so
fighting, you
familiar.
jump
It's just
into,
been
like,
so long.
cloudy
How long has
floor.
it been since part 3?
3 is more recent. 3 is like is after Bloodborne. That's when they took the aspects of Bloodborne.
And-
Okay,
and-
we'll get into Bloodborne.
I need a refresher over my Dark Souls class, bro.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
It's been a while, but
It's
you've
been so
beaten
long.
1, 2, 3. You've seen
Part 3, I just felt like I ran through it.
Yeah,
There
I
were
did
a couple
feel
of
it
hard
was
bosses. There
shorter,
were
maybe.
very hard bosses. Which hard? I know the last boss was just insanely hard.
Yeah,
Like he would have how many different forms? He had 3 forms or
last
2
boss was tough, but the hardest boss was that lightning boss.
I gotta remember. I need a refresher over
DLC
that.
Was more annoying. I remember it was.
I
that-
gotta go. I'm gonna go home. I still
Right
have
now
part-
they say the hardest boss is in the DLC. It's in the church. I can't remember the name. Yeah, we gotta pull.
Oh, the demon lady with that weird thing
yeah,
that
and
turns
she
like a
has a
demon.
second thing attacking
That
you.
boss actually wasn't too hard for me. That boss
Oh, you
I actually
tackled it
ran
pretty
to in the
good.
church area. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that clear as day.
I
Because you
co-opted
fight her more
it.
than once. You fight her twice, right?
No, not that DLC boss. You fight it once, but anyways, moving on to Bloodborne. Bloodborne kind of changed the gameplay of the Dark Souls games. It came out before Dark Souls 3.
It had guns in it too, right?
It didn't have any shields. Yeah, you got different weapons. You even upgraded your weapons, but it was all about dodging. And it had, like you said, the guns. You had to shoot to stagger and then attack.
You know what's funny about that game?
Did you like Bloodborne? Yeah.
The
What
Bloodborne
was-
was pretty good. The thing about Bloodborne is it reminded me of an old PlayStation game.
PS1.
The original PlayStation game. It was called had like werewolves in it and vampires. I can't remember what that game was called. It was a very
Are you talking
very
about Blood Rain?
No, not Blood
Oh.
Rain. Not Blood Rain. It was much older than Blood Rain. Way before Blood Rain.
PS1?
It was PlayStation 1, the original PlayStation. It came with a demo disc, and you played like you had like werewolves,
can't
and you're a
think of it.
vampire. You're hunting these werewolves. I gotta look up this game name. I just
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
get off the
you're
top of
saying
my
it
mind.
had the same
But it had
kind
the
of
same
setting.
element. It reminded me of the same element, the way the guns were and the guys and everything.
What about the setting? Was it
The
similar?
setting, it was very similar. It was very similar. It was like a
Yeah.
medieval. I don't want to say medieval, but it had like a medieval feeling to it. It was a very weird game. I gotta look up that game. It's been so long. Like, I don't even know how I even remembered this game, but
Yeah,
like every
look
time
it
I'd
up
see
and-
Bloodborne, it would give me like a little glimpse of that game.
Yeah,
It was-
but that was like the first time we seen From Software, keep the core game elements, but make it work with just dodging, no shield. Still had excellent boss fights. There's a lot of things in that game too, that the world you interact with
And
that was different.
I just love how they had like
They had
they had
different endings,
illusions
like
and
usual.
secrets. Those kind of things in a game make it very rewarding.
Yeah,
and the
definitely.
rewards in games, that's what drives you. If they give you rewards in certain games that have no purpose, like they don't help you in the game, or
That's what's
or
rewarding.
they have no
about
difficulty to
Souls.
it to attain, that has no value in the game, then it's gonna be pointless. It's not gonna be rewarding. Gamers aren't gonna want to play it. The main thing about video games is having a nice reward system. That's not too excessive and that's not too obsolete. Has no purpose.
Definitely, and the rewarding thing about Dark Souls, you fight a boss fight over and over. Then when you finally beat him, that's what feels rewarding.
Exactly.
Yes, I accomplished it.
And you get like you can
Yeah.
their not just their currency system, but what you get from it. It's like they have to add purpose to everything in a video game. It's the only way it keeps people playing. That's honestly the
Definitely.
main thing.
Now, From Software recently released Sekiro.
Okay. Now
I've
we're-
had issues with that game. I did platinum it as well. I got the full. I tackled everything. I came off that game saying, "Please don't make DLC for this game." The
I
difficulty
completely
was just one, ridiculous. Each boss gave you one attack power. Now, eventually, when I beat the game and rolled into New Game Plus, all Dark Souls, all Bloodborne games, they become easy when you roll over to New Game
See-
Plus because you got down the thing. But the first initial playthrough of Sekiro was ridiculously hard. Not just the difficulty, just the way you progressed. You upgrade, you level.
No, I agree.
What do you got to say on
My
Sekiro?
input on Sekiro, I'll tell you one thing about Sekiro. One thing I really disliked about that game, think of it like this. They tried to sell a fucking game that the whole concept of the game is just timing. Like how you hit, when you hit. You see how everything's about timing and like
Yeah,
when you're-
definitely.
the combat system. The game is completely centered around the
It's
combat
about
system.
parrying, too.
Exactly,
and
parrying. It's
dodging.
supposed to be about timing, and
Definitely.
They
I think
tried
they
to-
focus more on parrying.
see, this is where they fucked up. This was one element of Dark Souls that made Dark Souls so good. You see what I'm saying? Like the timing and how you fought bosses and when you healed. Everything was about. It's not everything was about timing. It was one aspect of the game.
Yeah, now Sekiro
They developed
does have
Sekiro.
timing.
The whole entire game based off that. You have no other
Yeah.
weapons. You have no other. There's no creativity in it as far as like customization.
Yeah,
making a
I
character.
think it was less
Everybody
customized.
plays the same way. Everybody plays the same, and they basically developed the game completely
Yeah.
off timing.
It was more focused on story content.
You can say story and content. It was more singular.
and it was
the way they developed.
definitely a competitor to Neo. I felt it was better than Neo, though. We'll
You
get
can
into
agree.
that.
I mean, Neo. It's like it's like comparing a piece of shit, one piece of
No,
shit to
but
another piece of
you
shit.
can't say that
How
about
is it?
Neo.
I mean,
Neo's
you
really
can't say
good.
that. It's a good game, but
Yeah.
but you
But
see what I'm saying? It's
back to
kind of in the
Sekiro,
same
yeah.
league. It's in the same league. You can compare it to anything else. But you see where I'm getting at. No disrespect to both games.
I enjoyed
There's a
Sekiro.
lot of there's a lot of quality in it, and they put time and effort into it. It's not one of the games they just stuck together, but they
Yeah.
developed a game that's specifically off that. I see how they tried to do like the samurai kind of theme in it. And,
Yeah, they're trying something new. That is now From Software.
I don't
not
take that
staying
away from 'em.
repetitive.
Exactly. I don't take that away from them, but as far as the gameplay to what they've already presented, like Dark Souls, you can't play Dark Souls and play that and be like, oh, this.
See,
it's
that
like-
is the problem. Many people told me is that you can't play Sekiro like you were playing Dark Souls.
exactly.
Get into it as if it's a new game and get used to its core
I
elements.
do agree with that.
I
But
agree, but
when you
I
see a
still got
game
annoyed.
and you're expecting very high hopes, and you're expecting a lot of what they originally with the original element. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of disappointment in that scenario.
And
But
that's where I
you
come
know,
in
it's
and
like-
say, okay, you're changing the flavor. You're making this new game. Then make it more casual, because
exactly,
you can't have that hard, tough
exactly
type of Dark Souls
in a game that's
gameplay.
completely new.
That's completely
You-
different.
People
yeah.
are gonna fucking hate it. People are gonna. I'm
Yeah.
not playing this
Now,
shit.
it did sell very well. It did.
I will, of course, because
Yeah.
what their reputation is very good, increasing.
Definitely, and we could. I bet there may be a sequel to Sekiro 2 or Bloodborne 2.
I do agree,
It
but
is
I hope they fix
exclusive.
that. Like one game that I have still seen that they have not been able to top is the Ninja Gaiden on Xbox. Remember the Ninja Gaiden on Xbox
Oh,
Live?
yeah.
Where you get nunchucks.
And I
how
heard it was challenging.
It changes. That game was so difficult. That Ninja Gaiden was one of the hardest games yet. It was one of the best games of that era. That game was insane. You know, and the way they the way they you get nunchucks.
Now I never beat part 1.
You get stars and you get different weapons
The
and swords.
upgrades. Ninja Gaiden 2 is my favorite one. Because that was the one I was
Wasn't
able to
Ninja Gaiden 3 on
3 was the bad one.
which one?
I never played
the
3.
one on Xbox.
I heard it got bad reviews.
There's one that came out on Xbox.
360?
No, the original Xbox.
Original Xbox is Ninja Gaiden Black. And then they made Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which upgraded the graphics.
Yeah,
to
you're right.
360.
See, now you're fresher.
I'm going to go back and play
I remember
Sigma.
Ninja Gaiden Black. There was one before that. I can't remember what it was
Talking about
called.
the old school ones?
No. There's one that because Ninja Gaiden Black came after the one they had on Xbox. They had released 3. They ended up releasing 3 different
sure about
versions.
that?
I remember Sigma was the last one.
I wasn't an original Xbox fan, but
I know you didn't play.
I thought there was only Ninja Gaiden Black. Maybe there was a different version. Than
I remember it came out around the same time as Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay.
So
that was one of the baddest games.
Which Ninja Gaiden are you talking about?
It was the one I can't. It's still like it's been so long.
But it was difficult.
It was very difficult.
It was Ninja Gaiden
I still remember
Black. At least that core game.
Because Ninja Gaiden Black was a remake of that one.
Of
that
the
had
original
Xbox.
one. Okay.
Of the
That's what I was
Xbox
saying.
one. You see, there was a remake of it.
But yeah, 2 was my favorite. 3 I didn't like, and when they went into the Ninja Gaiden Z, where it was the guy hunting the main character, I never played that one either.
Ninja Gaiden Z ended up coming out with more after
A
that.
cartoony version. I don't know how it was.
Okay.
I never played it. I do
remember
want to go
that
back
game
and
was
try them
just
out.
insane. I remember playing that game. I was like,
2 was
what
my
the
favorite.
fuck?
You could swim
You get
around
fucking
and everything.
nunchucks, and then you just beating the shit out of everybody, and you can just. And the thing I loved about those nunchucks, you could keep swinging them. You know, and you didn't ever have to block. You just.
Now the developers did end up going the Dark Souls route, and they released Neo.
Yeah,
Those are the same devs. And again, we'll get into Neo, but I just wanted to touch up, Well, actually, yeah. Since we're on the subject, you played Neo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I didn't really beat it. I just spent some time.
I did beat it. I went through it. I did not want to go for the platinums. I know your brothers went all out.
Yeah, they did. They did play the shit out of that game. My brother's just like
Here's the problem I have with Neo. The progression. It is level based. You choose your level, but it also had like a Destiny type of map where you choose. You can play public events, and the thing is, like, you play one level. Say you're level 13. This is just an example. The next level will say you gotta be required level 25. Now I know you can go in there as level 13 and beat it.
I hate those kind of stipulations.
But the difficulty spike is way too much. Like
yeah,
when I beat Neo, it had this double boss fight, and people who on YouTube beat it was before they patched it. What they were doing is activating their ultimates and constantly fighting those bosses with their ultimates. When I beat the game, they had patched it, and I played that boss fight. I could only activate the ultimate once. Then I had to fight him regularly in a small grass field. It was a very cheap game, cheaper than Sekiro, cheaper than the only way to actually beat that, you'd have to re-roll like New Game Plus, but it's a map it re-rolls. And you'd have to play through it again, then go back to that original New Game Plus 1, and then beat that side. And it was just a side mission.
Yeah, that sounds like
it wasn't a
fucking
part
cluster.
of it.
Like, see, that's why I don't spend my time with games like that.
Here's the thing: the DLC. I was excited about it. I want to play the Neo DLC. I went and checked the level requirements. You literally have to play New Game Plus of the regular game just to be leveled enough to play the DLC. I mean, you can go into it after you beat the original game, but you're gonna be so low leveled. It's not even worth it.
That's the thing that was bothering me.
That's why I never got the DLC.
Games, you're supposed to be playing it to enjoy it, not do your fucking chores. You know what I'm saying?
That's a problem with the developers of Neo. It's like,
it's like,
are they testing? Are they really testing it?
Like, I don't know. Like, see, those are the things that really piss me off about certain games. That's why I'm telling you.
Definitely.
You can call me a bougie gamer, say whatever the fuck you want, but I only play games that are like, legit. Like, really fun to play. You're not going to feel like you're doing your chores. You're not going to feel like somebody's fucking, pushing you, putting a gun in your head,
exactly.
forcing you to play.
I don't like games that feel like
I lose interest right away.
Are you going to play Neo 2 or
Neo 2?
When it comes out?
It depends on how good the game is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not the type of person to just read the reviews and be like, oh, I'm cutting this game off, I'm not playing. I look at it, I'll try to play. If it doesn't look enjoyable and fun to play, there's no element in there that's going to You know, like
Yeah. Now the
I'm not gonna
elements
play
were
it.
different. You had to switch stances, which gave you a power boost.
Of course, like even there's like old games that I still play. Like shit, a game that's good. Like I freaking went back and I beat Beyond Good and Evil on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, I played the revamped version. Bro, the game was. I mean, of course, everything was outdated, but the game was fucking amazing. The story's really good.
Part
You know,
gonna be pretty
it
crazy.
reminded me of Sly Cooper. You know, it reminded me very much of Sly Cooper back in the days.
Yeah,
Remember
old
Sly
school
Cooper?
games were fun.
You know, and as old as the game is and outdated, it still felt like good. You know, it felt like a real good game. Like, you know, a game that was enjoyable. You know, like even though the graphics, like, you know, it's a very old game. This game's over a decade
real
old.
quick, Lords of the Fallen, The Surge. There's always these type of games that try to replicate the Souls
Don't even tell me about
genre.
Lords of the Fallen.
So you did play
I did play Lords of the Fallen.
Did you beat it?
I call that game of the Fallen.
Yeah, right. I played it. I played the first boss, and then I got out there.
You know, it's like those companies.
No way.
It's those companies.
Those are the same
Let me tell you how
developers as
those
The
developers,
Surge.
how it looks.
Yeah.
Those guys that develop games like that, they're stuck looking at Dark Souls, and they're making a game without even looking at their product.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and just release it. That's the way it
Yeah,
feels when you
that's
play
how
it.
Lords of the Fallen felt. I agree with that, but
You know?
The Surge was something new, sort of robot, Dark Souls stuff. They did still look at Dark Souls, and
Of
how it
course,
was.
they tried to
and
mimic
I
a
know
lot
they're
of
releasing
elements.
The Surge 2. I haven't beaten part 1 yet.
I remember you heard of the Surge.
It's like a little robot game. We played it at E3. We went in 2017. It was already
Oh,
out.
with the little things that remind me of one of those
Yeah.
older PlayStation 3
Exactly.
games that
It
came
could
out with the
remind you
motion.
like a PS1 type of game. I don't think it had motion in it. But
No, I'm saying remember those original games that came out with PlayStation 3 when they were trying to market their 6-axis. They had those little games.
Oh, you're saying graphic wise,
Yeah,
like layer?
Yeah,
Just
like
stuff.
different stuff, you know, like that's how that game felt, you know. But it was pretty, overall, it was good. The game we played at E3, it was very good.
Yeah, it was
actually.
alright. I mean, I'll still play through the Surge, and then if Surge 2, it's just so sudden the release
It's
of
just
Surge 2.
it's very it's
Well,
very. I totally
maybe
even
it
forgot
made-
about that game.
yeah.
Honestly, like
Are there any other games that should come out that are similar to Souls, and should they copy Souls directly or
you know, see,
add their own?
that's the
flavor?
thing. When they add their own mixture, you know, their own little chemistry in the game, you know, like their different style, you know, their reward system, how the game is played. It's a creativity that counts, you know. It's like there's unlimited possibilities of games they can make as long as they have. Like, look at people play freaking Minecraft, kids, you know, and that's enjoyable. To me, it's not very appealing, you know, like. But kids play it, you know, it's fun, even though it might not take a lot to
So
make, a
what
lot
should
of
they
effort,
focus on?
a lot of graphics. You know, they should focus
More
more on
story?
gameplay.
Oh,
you know,
gameplay, okay.
like see, adding one little mix can make a game turn a piece of trash into a fucking gem. You know, like adding physics in a horror game. Look how they implemented in Alan Wake the flashlight and the lighting. You know, the game is fucking amazing.
So
you know, like
better physics.
exactly,
for Souls
physics
type
can change the game. It doesn't even have to be physics. Look at Dark Souls. Dark Souls is just downright amazing.
That's
Just
true.
their progression. You know, it's like building on little by
So,
little, gradually.
AOD.
Them trying to rush something is gonna destroy it
Yeah,
sometimes.
so
You know.
keep replicating Dark Souls or make your own flavor of.
They can make. I think, in my opinion, they can make their own. You know, if they put
Yeah,
the time
definitely.
to experiment and see how
Yeah.
things work,
It,
they
it's
can make.
gonna. I think the more they replicate Dark Souls, it's gonna be like the next battle royale, where people are just gonna get sick of it. And
No, I
honestly,
agree.
you
I
know,
agree. I completely
Yeah,
agree
there's
with
some
that.
games I can't stand.
Flavor runs out after a while. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just reuse the same element over and over.
There is an indie type game that was like Dark Souls. I played it. I can't remember the name right now. It starts with an F. Damn, I really wanted to mention this, but it was just
How old
amazing.
was it? How old?
They changed the. It was actually new. It's a newer,
Oh, it's a
type
newer
of
game. Oh, all right.
Yeah, maybe I'll mention it in the future.
You know, there's
but,
a lot of games like, you know, back in the days on original like N64.
No, but this was new. This was on PS4.
Like, you know, there's certain elements, like, I don't know if you remember that there's a game back then on N64 called Forsaken, and then there was
You know
another game
something
called...
You reminded me of. There was a good horror game we didn't mention on N64.
Which game?
You know which one I'm talking about? Silicon Knights developed it. Does anything come to mind?
It sounds so... like
It
there's
messed
so
with
many...
the camera. It messed with the TV.
Oh, it was like a horror game kind
Yeah,
of.
I can't believe we didn't mention that. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to cut in and
Yeah, I remember that
kind
game.
of
It had a
made
very
this,
weird name too. Something Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness. You
See,
nailed
that
it.
one,
That,
yeah.
that was the game right there.
See that
Yeah.
Eternal Darkness. That
How
game was-
did we not mention that last?
I don't know. I honestly didn't play it. It was only on the GameCube though.
Was it on GameCube? Yeah.
It was
yeah.
only on the GameCube.
Sorry, I said N64. Yeah, you're right.
It was only on the GameCube. Eternal Darkness. I
Yeah.
remember. You
So-
made me for a second there. I thought it was N64.
I know we're not talking about horror, but I had to bring this up kind of
Yeah, no,
we
that's
didn't bring it up
refreshing.
last
Eternal
episode.
Dark, was it made by Silicon Valley or
Silicon
Knights?
Knights, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game back then. I watched
Definitely.
you play. I never really got into that. The game that got me back in the GameCube days was the
Flying
Super
Golem's
Mario
actually
Sunshine.
Haas mainly.
Yeah, Haas would know that. Haas would know that. Haas
We're kind of going off the Soulsborne topic and From Software. Getting back on track. The Elden Ring has been announced. George R.R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones, he's not really gonna be there developing the game. He's adding, I heard, the atmosphere. He has a small part to play, but still, the collaboration is a big thing, and it's called the Elden Ring. Are you excited for it?
Oh man, I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that. That game, oh my god. I can imagine the atmosphere because I know for a fact whenever they have a director involved, or somebody or a book writer, they can rebuild such a realistic environment. Whether it's a movie, whether it's a book, they can always because they know the small details that would really set the atmosphere. So yeah, that's gonna be really good. I can't wait for that. I can imagine him commanding. It's the same way the director.
I hope it's better.
Has a big influence on the movie. He has the most influence on the movie and what they know which elements set the mood.
Well, I don't think he has that much of an influence on this game. I hope he does.
No, as far as the atmosphere goes, I know for a fact.
But he's not a movie director. Sorry,
I know he's a book writer. Yeah. He's a book writer, but that's.
But he writes good stories.
Of course, no, I know that. I mean, writers
and violent and plot twists.
Of course, what I'm really trying to insinuate is, the writer always knows how to set the atmosphere in text. So definitely. I can imagine when they're reverting that to like a video game with visuals. Like it'd make a big difference. Honestly, in my opinion.
True. Now, should they change the gameplay style or keep it? What should it replicate? More Dark Souls, more Sekiro, more Bloodborne?
I say more Dark Souls.
This Elden Ring?
Yeah, stick to their guns. They did a good job, I just hope they stick to how original Dark Souls was,
Yeah. Whatever Elden Ring is, I want it to play more like Bloodborne. Because, they've had 4 games that are sort of like... So that's just my personal opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, a little more Souls won't hurt,
Yeah.
But it wouldn't hurt.
We'll see. What do you think the Elden Ring is about? Is it about the
that's
world?
The thing.
They said it's not going to be like Lord of the Rings.
I'm going to be completely honest with you.
He's not hunting for a ring like
Frodo was. I'll be completely honest with you. Yeah. Their whole story, I never gave a fuck about any of the Dark Souls.
They're always told them dialogue,
crazy bullshit.
But now with George R.R. Martin, don't you think they should?
I mean,
Elden Ring has a point to it. What is it?
You'd think they're going to put something more specific or a main focus, But I don't know. I wouldn't put too much into the story. There's stories like, I don't want to say it's too much on the action, but the gameplay just in Dark Souls is just revolutionary. There's nothing like it. So you always want to keep progressing to see how the next world will look. What secret, what items are next. It just keeps you guessing and looking forward. So those are the things I like about it.
So I'm gonna ask you again. I know I'm pressuring you with this. What do you think the Elden Ring is? Just take a guess. Never know. Maybe
you say rings in it. Who knows? Could be something about 5 rings or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was announced that it was the world.
I honestly didn't even look too much into it. See, this is the thing about games that are coming out exclusively. Something like that. Like, you can't really pinpoint.
It's not going to be multi-platform.
I'm pretty sure it is going to be multi-platform. Is it exclusive? I'm pretty sure it's a multi-platform game. Yeah. It's always going to be
multi. I can quickly look it up, but
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the thing is with Elden Ring,
it's just, I don't like putting too much and looking up and hyping up a game too much, I like to wait for it to come out. Because sometimes, people don't understand that when you build such a high expectation for a game and it comes out and it doesn't play out exactly how you have fixed in your mind, it'll always have a shortcoming, it'll always come down,
Yeah, definitely, I hear you. The thing is, I think I heard it is about the world. Sort of like Halo, how it was a ring. But I'm not too sure. Now we're looking.
I gotta look more. I'll do more reading on it.
I think it's exclusive right here. It says PlayStation 4 trailer. Is Elden Ring exclusive? The ring is coming to... Oh no, it's not. It says here it's coming to PS. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was multi-platform. Okay. Yeah, I know something
multi-platform.
Like that. They would never limit something like that with such high production for such show.
So, I still have hopes for the exclusive, either a remake of Demon's Souls, Bloodborne 2, or...
if they do make a remake of Demon's Souls, I'll most likely play that.
But anyways, back to Elden Ring. Do you want them to have an easy mode? Do you want it to be catered more to more people to enjoy this world?
I personally
Or
don't
no?
care. I like playing the game how it's meant to be
So
played.
you'll play on normal either way.
Exactly. I play on
Okay.
normal either way. I do
Now-
that with all my games. Unless they have a real high difficulty, I'll just pick that usually for most games.
Yeah,
You know, exclusively for something I know I can beat right away. You know,
definitely. No, I would
if you
say.
I beat the original Witcher 2 on Death March. I beat all
Yeah,
of them
so
on Death March
difficulty
and
to
hard
you,
def-
you're hardcore when it
I
comes
like
to,
playing those exclusively something that I know I'm not gonna stop playing. You know,
Yeah,
like The
definitely.
Witcher. I said if in life or death, I'm still gonna be playing that game. You know, till I beat it and I complete all 100%. Like
Yeah.
that's how immersive.
Personally, I don't mind. I think Elden Ring should cater to more fans, especially with George R. Martin collaborating with this. You know, you're gonna bring fans of him to this game.
No, of course, yeah, no,
who
I
have never
completely
played
agree.
a Dark Souls
Yeah.
game, so you would want them to experience some of his content.
No, I completely agree. I'll be honest with you. I don't watch Game of Thrones till the last season,
Yeah,
and only because I was forced to.
that was
Not
a
really forced to, you
horrible
know, but
season, but
yeah,
even
I mean
for a
whatever,
TV podcast,
whatever. I
maybe
wasn't
in the
expecting
future.
anything like better, you know, like whatever. Just watch
Okay,
it.
we're kind of way over.
No, that's
We
fine.
kind of tackled all of the Soulsborne games. We're big fans. We really like them. We hope we're always looking forward to them. But yeah, hopefully, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for
it's
having
great to
me.
have
It was
you.
Amazing.
Your
I love-
opinion on single player games. I don't feel left out here.
No,
You know,
of course, well, you know how it is. I
You definitely
appreciate
hit
you
the
guys
nail.
tuning in. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, that's the thing about district gamers. You know, we like to have a community of all sorts of different genre gamers, and you'll definitely see future gamers, different types of gamers. Maybe some that like just RPGs, Final Fantasy type games, Nintendo Fire Emblem games. We'll try to get whoever we can on the show. You know, if anyone's interested, you can always hit me up. And you know, so far we're not out in different states, but you never know in the future. But anyways, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and follow us on Twitter. You can always follow me personally. Follow my or our District Gamers Twitter as well. Always have the updates on there. You'll know when the new top 10s are coming out and everything. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Movies and certain games and stuff. Only games with really good story they put on there. And they ended up doing one for The Witcher 3. It was fucking crazy. I
What
wanted
is
to
it?
watch
It's based on the books? Or
It's based on everything about The Witcher.
it's
And
fan made or what?
It's no. It's this very well-known YouTube channel. It's called Stories of the Old. They blew up. I've been watching this guy. You know the same Japanese guy that does the science.
But they have a TV show for Witcher.
I don't know. No, this is not the TV show. This is about the video game specifically. Anytime there's a really good movie with a really good story, or a really good game with a really good story, rarely do they have games on there. Only if they have a game with an extremely good story. And they had an episode for The Witcher 3 because how good the story was. Witcher 3 had fucking amazing story. You remember how crazy the story
I didn't
was?
beat Witcher 3 yet.
Are you serious?
I beat Witcher 1 and 2.
You haven't beat The Witcher
No,
3?
man,
Hey,
I-
Witcher
I-
3 is the most epic game ever.
I know, I need a good...
I beat even the DLC.
I can't play it on consoles. I have to play it with ultra graphics for Witcher. That's
I
what I did
know,
for
but
1
hey,
and 2.
even for the console.
this won't run out
graphics.
ultra. Yeah, I know. Still, I want to play on top notch.
Do you want to play on my computer?
the
I can
future,
play. My
4K.
computer can run it perfectly in 1080p.
Yeah.
Full
Well, I
graphics.
can come to your house.
If you want to borrow my computer, I'll let you borrow my computer. My whole thing.
Eventually, I'll build one, play it at my own pace. You know.
You have it on Steam, or what do you have it on?
Yeah, I have it on Steam. I have all the DLC already, so I'm just
Hey,
waiting
the
for the
DLC
time.
is crazy, man. DLC is very good. You get to fuck some bitches too in the DLC. You know that? You can fuck the queen too. She ends up having a dick, bro. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm fucking
Definitely putting this in
Hey,
for bloopers.
Hey, you can fuck. Hey, is it
No,
recording?
Yeah,
Oh shit!
that's definitely putting it for bloopers
It's
like I
fucking
said.
hilarious.
Alright, here, let's get ready. Let me start recording on the mic. Yep. Hello? It's good, it's good. Start the stopwatch.
I can't believe you have not beat The Witcher 3. I spent almost 300 hours in that fucking game, bro. That's how good it is. You know, there's story missions Bro, there's one of them where there's a guy fucking took a dick off a statue. You know that?
Alright.
I couldn't believe the side mission. The motherfucker was raping bitches with a fake dick. He stole it off the statue. This is how the mission starts. You walk in the hometown and there's a statue with his dick and balls missing. You're like, what the fuck happened? You talk to the townspeople.
You said this is a side mission?
This is a legit side mission.
Man.
I was looking, I was like, is these guys fucking serious? The guy stole a fucking massive fucking stone dick, and then you find out he's using the dick to fuck bitches in the town. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I could not believe the side missions.
Real quick, just look out for the table again.
I got
Because
you.
it'll make noise. Try to look more into the camera instead of to the side.
I
Like, even though you're talking to the camera, you're still talking to me.
I got you.
I know
Of
it's
course,
easier
I got
to us, but... And I gotta, like...
Of course, I got you. But
Stay
I'll talk to
straight.
the camera.
Okay. Alright, we're just gonna...
I'm just it feels like we're filming a movie, so that's why I fucking don't look at the camera. You know, movies, you never see that guy walk up to the camera. Oh, you know what I'm saying? It just feels retarded, you know. So I try to make it more fluid. It's all good.
Okay, there we go.
I'll fix that.